Everybody's pretty much just completely lost their shit over the latest episode of Game of Thrones, The Reigns of Castamere. The most common reaction I've heard so far is a lot of, oh my god, what the actual flying fuck shit, and then a lot of crying. And even though it's been out since Monday, a lot of people are still trying to process it and get over it. The most interesting social media reaction was Twitter. I logged on and had a look at some of the comments, and they were very aggressive. I'm going to read you a couple of quotes. I am 5,000% done with Game of Thrones. Oh my god, watching this series was the worst decision of my life. Fuck the Lannisters, fuck Bruce Bolton, fuck everyone on this goddamn show. I am fucking RIP shit. Game of Thrones just fucked me so hard, I'll kill every single one of the Freys and fuck Lord Bolton. RIP Rob. Fuck Roose, I'm fucking jumping ship little bitch Bolton. Hated the phrase bitch asses since day one, so fuck them too. Red Wedding epic. One of my favourites. Oh, and everyone who took it upon themselves to tweet about what happens in the Game of Thrones episode last night, please go get gang raped by gorillas. This is one of the worst things I've ever watched. One of the worst things I've read. You're an SOB, George R. Martin. Fuck. 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 Why the fuck did I watch Game of Thrones? Sad face. If George Martin was in Auburn right now, I'd stab him in the heart. We can cancel HBO. No point to the season finale. Very upset at how this turned out. And so in light of these comments, I thought that I'd just point out a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, remember what you're watching. If you got to episode 9 of season 1, saw Ned Stark get decapitated, and still thought it was all going to be rainbows and sunshine, you're fooling yourself. Daenerys lost her unborn baby and her husband. Winterfell got burnt to the ground and most of its inhabitants were murdered. Kinda seems like Theon just lost his penis. This is how the show is, and this is how the show's gonna continue to be. There's lots and lots of violence and very, very unfair parts, but there's also gonna be some really good parts, and there have been some really good parts. Number 2, Daenerys versus Robb. One of them would have had to be taken out at some point, and it was Robb. Number 3, murdering George R. Martin. There have been a lot of people on Facebook and Twitter whose general response to the episode has been, I want to fucking murder George R. Martin in the following ways. But just think a minute about how helpless and defeated you felt after that episode. How sad and fucking angry. The amount that you loathed Roose Bolton and Walder Frey. As the girl on Twitter put it, you really wanted to see them get raped by a bunch of gorillas. His willingness to kill off popular characters is actually part of the reason why the series is so great. You can make sort of predictions about what's going to happen next in the story, but you never really know. Unlike a lot of other books where it seemed pretty obvious what's going to happen next, with his books, it's always just, what the fuck was that? Which is really different to most TV shows and series, where if the main character's in trouble, you know they're going to be fine. But in Game of Thrones, if your favourite character's in a whole mess of trouble, then there's a very good chance they're not going to get out of it. For me, the best part about this is that it's actually realistic. If this were going on, not all the characters would get out alive. Number 4. From the book perspective. Keep in mind that for those of us who have read the books, we've been sitting on this secret for a long time. Some people a lot longer than others, considering the first book came out in '96. I read the third book about a month before it came out, and I've been practically wetting myself since the start of the season, thinking, is it going to happen this season or next season? And then when the episode started, and they're like, oh, let's go to the wedding, I was like, exactly like that. Exactly like that. Meanwhile, my housemate was sitting there watching it with me just like, oh, it's a wedding, whatever. Then all of a sudden, boom! But pretty much everyone, not gonna say everyone, but pretty much everyone who read the books didn't ruin it for everyone else. But of course, as soon as the episodes aired on television, a bunch of inconsiderate dickholes go straight to Facebook and start writing comments like, oh my god, I can't believe Robb Stark died. I can't believe the Freys would do that. Pretty sure my life is over because Robb Stark's been murdered. Wow, that was a twist. I can't believe that Robb Stark and Catelyn Stark were murdered at the same wedding by the Freys. Because people can't keep the secret. I heard it on the radio on the way home from university. Some lady was like, oh god, that guy looks like Robb Stark. May he rest in peace. Like 2 days after the episode was aired, there were still some people who hadn't seen it yet. Selfish bastards, that's what I say. So now that my little rant's over, just another few points. These are going to be some book spoilers. So firstly, in the books, Robb didn't actually bring his new wife to the wedding because he thought that it would be a bit insulting to the Freys after what he did. So in the books, she didn't actually die, so if you're really upset about her murder, you can just remember that in the books, she wasn't murdered. Ignoring the fact that in the book she's actually a different character and she's not pregnant. Also on that note, the Black Fish, being Catelyn's uncle, didn't attend the wedding either. He stayed back at Riverrun to watch the castle. So unlike in the TV show, he didn't actually avoid being murdered because he wanted to go have a piss. He avoided it because he never went there in the first place. So that's it, guys. Just a few things to make you feel maybe a little bit better about the horrible episode that devastated a lot of people's lives. Until next devastating episode.
And who are you? The proud Lord said.